I thought my battery was charged and my battery isn't charged. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jordan. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel, like this video, and yeah, if you guys have anything you want me to talk about, just put it down in the comment section and I will be up to the task. Today we're actually going to talk about who the fuck did I marry. One of my friends actually sent this to me and she was like, look at this, and I was like, 50 parts is too long. But once I was hooked to the end. So in case you do not know, there is a super popular TikTok series that is called Who the Fuck Did I Marry? And it's about a girl. Her name is a woman. Her name is Ressa Tessa. Here she exposes her messy marriage with a guy who she decides to call Legion. So she got the name Legion from a Bible story about a bunch of demons, which when she gave him that name, I was like, that is quite very specific, because you would not even think of a name like Legion. If 50% of what this woman said is true, which I believe everything she said, if 50% of what she says is true, honestly, this guy is very, very evil. But that being said, let's just get right into this story.
For those of you that don't want to watch the 50-part Who the Fuck Did I Marry TikToks, I will summarize here. Basically, this really kind, nice, and also intelligent woman goes on this date with this guy. He tells her he's like a VP of a company. He just moved to Atlanta, Georgia for his job. Said he had a bunch of money in an offshore account from arena football and also maybe from his high-paying job, allegedly. COVID hits, so they quarantine together. He keeps telling her he's gonna buy a house. They go look at houses. There's always an excuse. Something always happens. It falls through. He had provided her with some paperwork, like a Chase pre-qualified loan. He would talk to his family every day. Never on speakerphone though, so you didn't know who was on the other side of that phone call. They eventually get married. He keeps having issues when realtors ask for proof of funds. And so she gets a little bit suspicious. She realizes, hey, he actually hasn't put offers on these houses that he's claimed he's put offers on. And she basically realizes that everything that he's ever told her is a lie. She contacts his ex-wife. He pretended the ex-wife had a daughter that died. Did not happen. The ex-wife basically corroborated what she had already believed, was that everything out of this man's mouth was a lie. He did not have money. He was like paying for things though, but not expensive things, you know, just like little things here and there. It wasn't like he was a total mooch off of her, and it doesn't look like he's done anything destructive to her financially, which is very positive. He did put a different social security number on his marriage license than on a form that they had filled out for her job, because she needed to do a background check when she was getting a new job, which is kind of how a lot of this came out. Then she's able to run like a more thorough background check on him when she has his proper social, and at some point realizes that he was a felon. She ends up in contact with his family and realizes that none of them speak to him. So all of these phone calls that he has every morning, it's like either nobody's on the other side of that or somebody else is, but she's kind of thinking nobody ever was. And he was having like full-fledged conversations like with the phone up to his ear every day. So she basically talks to his family and they're like, we've all cut ties. He's been a liar since he was a kid. Even the people that she had met in his life, she recontacts them and they're like, they've cut ties with them. So he has like no real friends or family. Like everybody seems to have issues with him. And so her story is basically about uncovering these things and how good of a liar he was. He was doing like a lot of Google screenshots like of his bank statement. Like he would just screenshot something and then like pretend like he was like logging into his bank and then be like, oh, here's my checking account statement. So she thought that he had some money, but they were definitely like red flags along the way. And so I think the interesting part to this is that she's very well spoken. She's very organized. She's clearly intelligent. She gives some great analogies along the way. And she's also like holding herself, I don't want to say accountable, that's probably not the right term, but like she's very self-reflective, which is appreciated. She tells you kind of the good and the bad. And you kind of feel for her. She was like going through COVID lockdown. She really wanted to find her partner, and she's just very likable. I am curious now that this has become so public, like what else is going to come out about him. Because, you know, she's obviously able to find out a lot because she's quite curious and did a lot of research. But I'm sure there's more that people don't know, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out. And since he was like writing different social security numbers, like I'm wondering if there's something there. I had asked a question in my last video about, if the marriage could have been voided. I did do a little bit of research, and some states do say that, like, if your partner didn't tell you that they were a felon prior, that might be grounds to voiding the marriage. However, I think Georgia is a little bit more difficult. But I do think that there's like enough there to potentially have some type of an argument for fraud. I definitely don't think I did her justice, but that is kind of a very, very high level overview of her 50 parts.
The Teesa's sharing did it go too far? In today's online world where being real is highly valued, but Teesa's decision to spill all her private details of her marriage actually raises a crucial question. How much is it too much to share on social media? It's also led to people also exposing certain things that Ressa Tessa wanted to keep private. First of all, she wanted to keep private the identity of Legion, but somebody actually exposed it.
Call me a bitch, but the woman who went out of her way to find Ressa Tessa, the other woman who was giving us the very long story about who the fuck did I marry, the woman who went out of her way to expose Legion, the men in her story, the dangerous men in her story, and share it on social media and TikTok, was just clout chasing. There's no way in hell this was an action that was for the good of Ressa Tessa. That was not for the good of Ressa Tessa. It had nothing to do with Ressa Tessa and everything to do with her. Literally, have you been listening to the same story that everybody has been doing? Clearly, this is somebody who's not mentally there. Clearly, this is somebody who's a threat to women, okay? But at the same time, he's a threat to Ressa Tessa. Like, you actively seeking out this man, posting him and blasting him on social media. Who do you think he's gonna go after next? You or probably Ressa Tessa, right? And it's crazy because Ressa Tessa had never exposed him. She gave details about him, but she never linked anything back to him, right? Because she's protecting herself. This is her life. She is sharing her life, and this man is clearly a threat. And this woman goes and she's like, here's a video, this is where he is, this is his Facebook about, this is everything about him, the picture, the Facebook name, everything. You can find everything about this man based on her one video. And when the comments are like, why would you do this? This is a threat to Ressa's safety. Why would you do this? Da 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 da. What are your intentions? She's like, I made a video explaining what I did. You go to the video and she's basically like, well, he did it to multiple women, yada yada yada, hinga dinga durgan. There's no valid reasons as to why she did it. Like, really, there's no valid reasons. She did this because she does not care or have proper care and respect for boundaries. Like, most people on TikTok tend to be very extreme and they go out of their way to do stuff. This is the same thing that's been going on with like Corpse Husband, which is another creator that basically has nothing about his face. He has a nice sounding deep voice and everything about him is faceless. And people went out of their way to stalk this dude, to dox this dude, to find his fakes, even though he said over and over and over again that he does not want to be seen. What is up with people and their lack of respect and boundaries for others? Like, this was not because you wanted to do something good. This is because you're an asshole. Why in the living hell would you think, like, what walk me through it? What was your thought process?
And this also highlights the fact that when once someone tells their story, it's no longer the person's story. It's now every other person's story, because now the storyteller has no control over the story that they actually did put out there. Obviously, Ressa Tessa, she never wanted to mention anybody's name because people are crazy on the internet. They will go and dox you, find your house, send you shit, send you like literally anything. So like, she tried her best to keep him private, but somebody exposed it. And I'm very, very happy for Teesa that everybody stood by her, like everybody believes her, because it's so hard to find people believe you, especially if you're a woman. Literally, people have come to like collaborate and stand with her and be like, yes, she's actually not lying, because we hardly find out. But there are some people who would come out and tell their story and they are being laughed at, or they are being criticized, or they are saying, yeah, because even though people were for Teesa, there's some people that were against her. Some people are like, someone told her that she does not grant someone that a VP would want to marry, which was quite harsh. Like, why would you tell someone that? Why? People said, oh, that he was in a private group chat for HIV. there's a lot of stigma that goes around for people who have HIV already. And I felt like that group chat was literally a place that they could feel seen and they could feel safe. But someone to come out and be like, oh yeah, he was in a private group chat for people who have, single people who have HIV, that was crossing the line.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Legion potentially has HIV. Y'all are weird on this app. Like, y'all are actually weird on this app. This man lied about everything in existence. Everything that he could have lied about, he lied about. And we're bringing up the fact that he has health issues that a lot of people in this country have. Why? What does that have to do with him being a bad person? I think it's so weird. Like, there's also a conversation going on about Wendy Williams and how, like, I guess her health issues, like, this is like karma for the way that she treated people. Y'all are freaking weird. How do the two correlate for you guys? I don't understand. You're like, oh, well, this is what he gets. So what do you say to the fan of yours or the follower of yours that watches your videos and also has those health issues? Like, y'all get that there are people that watch y'all's videos that have the same issues going on as Legion, as Wendy Williams. What do you say to them? Health issues are not some type of punishment that you get. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Seriously.
People with HIV get stigmatized enough. Companies like Delta and Hilton, they're sending her to London and Paris. I forgot to say, he promised to send her to London and Paris because she's always wanted to go London and Paris. So he promised to send her there. He did the whole itinerary and everything. Like, literally was love bombing her, but they never went. So Hilton and Delta, they are flying her to London and Paris because she's always wanted to visit those places. Plus, she's getting a BMW. I'm so happy for her. Like, she's getting a BMW, and a BMW is car she's always wanted, as a car that her ex-husband promised that he was going to get for her. Instagram actually recommended this thread to me, and I found it quite interesting. So basically, this person said BMW used Ressa Tessa storyline for free promo, implying they were gifting her the car of her dreams. Since then, they deleted their video and there is no mention of her on their TikTok. I wonder what you guys think about this. Do you think that this is right? This person said that BMW is being racist because if it were to be a white woman, they would have given her the car and also featured her in an ad. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know. There's also some speculation, which now she's actually debunked it. So there's speculation that she is making like big amounts of money
to come on here and tell you guys.
Hi guys, when listening to Ressa Tessa's story, there's one part that stood out to me, and that was how she spoke about her religion and how she did certain things because of religion. And even if she may have not definitely said it, I feel like religion was one of the things that actually pushed her to get married to Legion. Don't forget when she told her mom that she was married, her mom heaved a sigh of relief, which when I heard that, I kind of thought that it was a red flag, because if I told my mom or if I told my dad that I was married, they would want to know who the person was. Why did I just get married without telling them? Even if it was in the middle of a pandemic, like, why am I telling my parents, oh, I'm married, and then they heave a sigh of relief? Like, there will be so many questions. And obviously, we can only presume that her mom heaved a sigh of relief because she's like, finally, my daughter is married. She also spoke about how there was pressure in the society because she was getting old and she didn't find anybody. But guys, this next video that I'm about to stitch actually really does explain my whole thought. So basically, people didn't really speak about this part, so I had to like dig into TikTok, and I'd seen this guy speak about this, and he actually stitched the gardening theologian. He actually stitched the gardening theologian, which I actually absolutely love her because I follow her on Instagram and I always listen to all her videos. But surprisingly, I didn't see this one. I listen to all her videos. She's very intelligent and she always backs up whatever she says with facts. So I just hope you guys just listen to this next part.
Check out this video.
One important aspect of the Ressa Tessa story that I don't hear people talking enough about is how she keeps pointing to religion. Does religion make you susceptible to manipulative men?
Absolutely. Religion can absolutely make you vulnerable to the religious and spiritual abuse of men. This woman, Ressa Tessa's story, is going viral and everyone is tuned in. But I want to share that you can't really understand Ressa Tessa's story and the decisions that she made without understanding how her religious beliefs impacted those decisions, particularly her religious beliefs around purity, culture, and patriarchy, and the messaging that both women and men internalize from the church about their relationships to and connections to one another.
The decision was made quarantine at my house. It was fine. The reason why I hesitate is because I grew up in the church. So for me, it was really like an internal struggle of, bruh, you always said you would never live with a guy unless he was your husband. It was a struggle for me. Around mid-May, I found out I was pregnant and I wasn't married. And that nagged. I cannot tell y'all how much it nagged me. There was a lot of internal struggle.
When stories like this come out, the first thing that you hear a lot of Christian folks talk about is discernment. They'll be like, well, she should have known better, she should have discerned better, ooh, out the bam. But how do you trust your discernment, your internal voice, when you've pretty much been taught to demonize it your entire life? Y'all tell folks that they should have discerned better while at the same time telling them not to lean on to their own understanding, while telling them that their hearts are deceitful and desperately wicked. And we wonder why people keep putting themselves in harm's way to live up to the antiquated systems they inherited from the church.
I started recording audio diaries. I knew there was something was nagging me, like, but I kept pushing it out of my mind. That was the theme of our relationship. I don't know what it is, but I know there's something.
My friend Ciara, the gardening theologian, made a great video about this. It's tagged in the description below. Please be sure to go watch that and follow her. She's brilliant.
Dr. Christina Cleveland is one of my favorite theologians, talks about how in her church growing up, she was not taught to fast for anything except for marriage, and that over time as a young girl, she learned that pleasing men was pleasing God. On top of that, in churches, many women learned the health of their marriage and that keeping a man is indicative of their spiritual prowess. That if they pray enough, that if they fast enough, that if they sacrifice enough, their marriage will work.
I made a video in which I asked Black women, what did your experience in the church teach you about society's relationship to and understanding of women? And when you see these answers, when you understand the socialization of Black women in the church, you will see why this shouldn't be as much of a conversation about discernment and red flags as it should be about the socialization of Black folks in church spaces and how this socialization, how this bad theology consistently places Black women in harm's way. A question I asked on here recently is, what did your experience in the Black church teach you about society's relationship to and understanding of women? Here's what Black women had to share about their experiences.
Pretty much that my sole purpose in life is to be owned by a husband. That's my purpose. I'm supposed to get married to a man, have some kids with that man, and pursue whatever God's purpose is for that man.
That my place was behind a man, even if I was smarter or more capable than him.
It taught me that, like, my voice didn't matter.
It did not matter what I wanted. I was not going to be allowed a thought unless a man allowed me to think it.
That I'm a thing, or like I'm something to be owned or had, or like conquered, or
Wow.
laid on top of, honestly.
What are your thoughts about this? Feel free to share your thoughts in whatever way you want to. Love and liberation to you all. And as always, like and follow for more content.
As a child, I always had so many questions when it came to marriage. First of all, why am I changing my last name when I get married to a man? And anytime that I did something, my dad used to be like, is that what you do in your husband's house? You're not going to cook in your husband's house. Is this what you do in your husband's house? I don't want them to return your bride price back to me when you get to your husband's house. Questions like this as a child just always made me question a lot of things. And it just turned me off with the aspect of marriage. I understand to people marriage is a big thing, but the way religion and the way families and elders have actually made women feel is like marriage is the end goal of every woman. And even as a child, I never agreed to that. I have people who, when they get married, they're super happy. They feel like it's an achievement. Yes, marriage is an achievement, but not only to the woman, also to the man. We've also seen religion. We've also seen our elders. We've literally also seen society play it to be as if marriage is every woman's dream. Marriage is not every woman's dream. And a woman is a single woman is also as fulfilled as a married woman. Everybody has their own path. And I'm not here bashing people who are married or people who actually have marriage as their end goal. Honestly, I'm not here to do that. If you're married, good for you. Honestly, like, I have friends who are married and I am 100% happy for them. Where I draw the line is when people actually make single women feel like they are nothing because they're not in the arms of men. Hopefully I made that clear. But now let's get right into this commentary. Ressa, she actually hopes that her videos can make a difference even if one woman watches it.